absolutely fucking with me.
I've been recording that entire time. It's okay, you know what? It's a good warm-up. I'm sorry. Are you jacking off? Is that what that motion is?
I'm fucking
You're violently jacking off.
From this disappointment.
Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Rob from A Gay Guy Plays, and today on the pilot episode of a yet-to-be-named series, because you guys know I do not know how to name any of my series. God, Xeno, don't bust me out! Yes, this is the second time we're actually doing his intro, mainly because of the fact that I forgot to record while we've been recording for the last 15 minutes. Regardless, I have a very special guest here today, Xenogelion. You want to say hi?
Hi!
Now, for me, I've been a longtime friend of Xeno. At least I feel like I'm a longtime friend. I don't know how he feels about me. But you guys have seen him. If you haven't seen him before, you probably have seen him at least at TennoCon 2017 on the YouTuber panel. But I will go ahead and let him tell you what he does.
I was there on 16 as well, Rob. I was.
You were there for 2 years. Listen. He's so mean to me.
I'm not. I'm telling you nothing. Anyway, so my channel is primarily about veteran-based content. So things like the 10 o'clock podcast, which we've recently had the 200th episode with DE Megan, along with various, yeah, she is, along with various different strange content like Machinimas in limited but not, wait, words, they fail me, but Faulty Frame Squad and Terror Elite.
Oh, and it's always good, so if you guys haven't checked it out, you should definitely check out his channel because it's always a good time over there, and they're always talking. And listen, y'all know I avoid the forums like nobody's business. These men are brave enough to explore the depths of Warframe culture within those forums, the places that I'm like, listen, I need disinfectant for that. I can't go in those areas. Regardless,
we've built up an immunity for this now. So
it's like you've been digging in those sewers, and now you're all right. You've come equipped with the suits. Regardless, we're
used to the shit.
You're already covered in it. Hey, you deal with me all the time, so I'm assuming that you're good with shit. Anyway, so let's go ahead and jump into the icebreaker question of the week. And I'm almost kind of considering whether this should be up to you guys in the comment section. So if you guys have any good icebreaker questions that I should ask for any future guests, but we're going to go with a really lame one today, as in what Xeno has been up to and into lately when it comes to Warframe content. Because we all know, or at least I know, that Xeno is an Oberon main. So I want to know, what frames have you been playing with? Any loadouts? Any weapons that you're like super interested in? What's been going on with you in the Warframe world?
So I have been trying to actually experiment with other Warframes, trying to see what else interests me, what I can get my groove into, see what really turns me on, sort of thing. I have been playing with Nova and Loki, obviously. I'm not allowed to play Loki anymore.
Why not? Why are they not allowing you to play Loki?
I troll people far too much with
Oh, have you been switch teleporting? Shame on you. Shame on you. That's like a no-no in the Loki world. Like, you don't switch teleport people. You be good.
I also have this habit of, when we're at the exit tile, because you can't switch teleport with Loki on the exit platform, what you can do with Nova, and I'm now teaching everyone this, right? The troll hole, right? If you aim just over the shoulder, right, and put the wormhole down, you can more than likely get the wormhole right on top of the player and actually put them right off the actual edge of the platform.
Oh my
Hilarious
God.
thing is, they come back right on top of the place that they disappeared from, which is back in the wormhole.
You
and they
are
go back off again.
Literally the worst. This is what you're spending your days doing. Nothing constructive.
But I've also been playing other Warframes like Nezha, Equinox, and lately Mag.
Okay. So so we were talking about this on the first take because literally, you know, he had to bust me out and make it very, very obvious that I'd fucked up the first time around. Thank you very much, Xeno. But one of the interesting things that we were talking about is I noted that every single frame that he seemed to really, really like left things on the ground. So we have Oberon with all of his ferns. We have Nezha with his fire. But one of the things that I did not point out in that first go is Mag has all of the little fractured bits that are left on the ground too. Dun dun
Yeah.
dun. I think that there's a little bit of a correlation going on. I think he likes a little floor action. That's he likes to leave. He likes to leave his mark on the ground. Oh no, that sounds terrible.
In public too.
In public, let everybody see your shame. Shame on you, Z. No.
It thrills me.
And you. And in keeping with that, because we are going to be talking about Planes of Eidolon in a little bit, are there any frames that you're excited to use in the planes? Like, I know that we've always kind of explored certain frames within the capacity of these kind of closed off tile sets, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we parkour off of walls and we jump off of things. But now we've got some like open environments. Is there anything that you're really excited to use? Any frame that you're really excited to use in the planes?
Not overly. I mean, I'm more interested in seeing the actual content, because I don't think how you'd use a normal Warframe in the planes would actually differ in any way, shape, or form than if you were to play it in the corridor system. If anything, it's the Arkwings that would be more interesting.
Oh, excited for those too. But speaking of that, let's go ahead and move into the meat of this show, and let's talk about the main topic, which is what we are excited about in the Planes of Eidolon. What was that big O thing in your mouth?
Again.
Again. What's he? He's giving me so much crap. Anyway, the way that I'm going to lead into this is because we actually received emails. Did you get the emails?
What email?
No. So we received these NDA agreements. If you guys have been watching me on Twitch, you'll actually know that I chat about it very, very quickly. And in those agreements, which I can't mention anything because it is NDA, there was actually a release date. We're not going to name the date, but all I'm going to say is, it's got me really excited for Planes, which will be coming up. So I wanted to know what feature are you the most excited about? Because there's been talk about it on the dev streams. We had the first initial rush of, it's open world, look at all of this open world stuff. There's a new culture that's there. And now we've also progressed into talk about the new glass frame. We've progressed into talk about the new arcane system and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm curious to see what your take on it is. Like, what are you looking forward to the most? The second time around.
The second time around. Now, I'm going to pretend for a moment that I'm thinking really hard about this. Then I'm going to come to an epiphany. It's the Eidolons themselves I'm interested in, because in Warframe, it feels quite stale right now. That you're going through the same rhythms, the same actions, you know, just drilling for Kuva, as they say.
I love Kuva. You don't like Kuva?
Busting open those ripe relics.
The cabbage, the space cabbage, is just tearing into the cabbages.
Yeah, just tearing it open and, you know, getting your hand right in there, exploring what's going on.
I don't like this fisting analogy that we've got going on. So.
It's more of a grabbing analogy. But anyway,
So I am definitely really excited about the Eidolon too. That's something that I have very much been looking forward to, and let me know if you have the same fear. Because when raids came out, they were super fun. At least I found them really fun. The Jordas Verdict, oh my god, the Legend of Raid, LOR. What is it called? Law of Retribution. I just remember it as lore. I don't remember it as the actual name. I just remember acronyms. But yeah. So all of those kind of became systematic for a lot of us. Like, we literally, at least for the group that I traveled with, it was very much like we got all of that done in about 20 minutes and then we moved on with our days. And it never felt kind of like exciting and new and cool after the first initial rush. Are you kind of worried about that at all? Like, how are your feelings about the Eidolons? Because we're going to get that cool new threat, but how long is that going to last, do you think?
So, I am concerned about this. My concern is, so as you just said 2 seconds ago, you did the raid, you did Law of Retribution or whatever, and then okay, done, drop it. Right? You don't actually go back for any reason. I will periodically go back and do the raids to experience them with new players, and at the same time, it's new. Well, it's not new. It's different, challenging content. Honestly, when I first started off, the number of people that didn't know you could actually stand on those fucking pressure plates was just like, oh my god, people. But
I'll be honest. I became a mega bitch. Not that I'm not already a mega bitch, but I know a lot of people have asked me like, oh, let's do lore raids and all that kind of stuff. And my kind of like initial thing was, I do it with a specific group of people that know what they're doing, and we don't actually even talk during the raids. We literally, the only time that we ever say anything is to call out what number pad that you want to jump into, and I don't even say anything then because I was the one who hacks the panels, and I'm the last one to jump on. Like, that's where it came down to, and I'm almost kind of scared that that's gonna become me in Law of Retribution, in Planes. I'm like, don't you know you're supposed to hit this spot? And I'm like, I'm gonna just turn into a mega bitch again, aren't I?
I would like them to actually introduce something that's more than just the bullet sponge, something that's more than just got invincibility phases. Because I've, this dates this video, but I just did a sortie that had Vayhek at the end, a level 100 Vayhek, and
you just
his
sit there.
It's boring.
Yeah.
What I like is phases of, you get it down to a fifth of its, you get it down like 20% of its health off. You then have to find a weak spot on it using your arc wing, and then you have to shoot it. Yeah. Or the weak spot rotates around the body, and you have to
That would be cool. Well, one of the things that I heard that they had mentioned, and it felt very Monster Hunter-y when they were talking about it, was that occasionally the Eidolon would retreat, and that you'd have to chase it around. And I was like, that's an interesting, different kind of step of like invulnerability phases, because technically it's invulnerable for the time being, but really what you're just doing is you're kind of like traveling and trying to seek it out. So technically, it's not invulnerable, you just have to go and find it. And I think that that's kind of like a cool way to traverse, like, the landscape.
Going from that, it'd be really cool if it basically flew up in the air, and then you have to find, so it lands somewhere, right? You then have to find it within a very short period of time. So your team has to split up to cover more ground that way.
And they could be like, I spotted it.
Yeah, exactly. So if you don't spot it, you just flat out lose it after the time period.
Oh, and I wonder what the time period's gonna be like too.
Well, it depends on how fast you can actually move and things, because everyone's like, 9 kilometers squared is nothing. Really? Really think kilometers squared is nothing?
Well, if your ass don't bring arc wing pads, maybe it's gonna be an issue. And that's kind of one of the interesting things that they brought up too, was the fact that you are gonna have a limited amount, at least at the very beginning, of how many arc wing charges you can actually bring in there. So it's almost like you have to be careful managing your resources.
How many arcing charges do you want?
I want it to be permanent because I want to fly around forever.
No. I'm like, okay, so serious. No, I want it to be some low number like 10.
Oh, I was gonna say 10 too, because 10's a good number. I was gonna say 10's a good number. We're on the same page. But no, that's what I thought. But the main thing that I want to know is like, what's the time to kill? What's the average time to kill on the Eidolons, which I'm really, really excited about. And here's the thing, I'm clearly being kind of skeptical about this, because this is gonna be one of those things that I might fall in love with. I really, really like Monster Hunter, and I want to be cautiously optimistic because of the fact that this could be really, really good, and it could be one of the things that really makes me feel threatened in Warframe. I mean, if you guys know me in the bedroom, I like to feel just a little bit threatened. Unfortunately, Warframe has been a bit vanilla for me lately. It's been a lot of missionary. I'm like, listen, I want something exciting and new, and like something that feels like it could actually hurt me a little bit. And I don't feel like, there's ways to cheese everything in Warframe. And I'm sure that we're going to eventually find a way to cheese the Eidolons.
Right. That's right. So, first off, Eidolons, right, I feel should just flat out ignore invulnerability, right?
Okay.
If you're in Limbo, in a Cataclysm, fuck off.
Well, no, here's the thing. Here's the thing that they've said. And I'm crossing my fingers that this applies to much more than just what they've stated it to. Is that the Eidolon will respond to your current tactics and will adjust to your current tactics, which I think is really, really interesting. They did mention that if you were flying around in Arcwing, that it would try to knock you out of the sky, right? So, or it would force you out of your Arcwing. But wouldn't it be interesting if, let's say you're running around with a Valkyrie or something, or you're running around with a Limbo or something, you know, some sort of invulnerability frame, and all of a sudden it emits some sort of EMP pulse, and it completely just has a perma nullification field around it that you're just gonna have to dodge, and you're just gonna have to weave until its next phase, and then its next phase comes in, then it adapts to whatever tactic you use there. And I think that would be, everybody's gonna hate me in the comments. They're like, you want a permanent nullification field? We gonna stab you. We gonna find out where you live. We gonna DDoS you. We gonna stab you.
In all honesty, this is supposed to be content that is hard to do, that takes a while to do, not something that you could just like lean over and fart against and then it dies.
Yeah. And that's what we've had a lot of in Warframe, even when it comes to some of the harder bosses. And I won't say harder bosses, they're just bosses with interesting mechanics that you have to work around, like orbital strikes from Kayla de Thame. Is that really the only thing I feel threatened by? I think that might be the only thing that I legit. What bosses make you feel threatened in Warframe?
High level Lephantis is a bastard. Like Vahek does nothing. Alad V, Mutalist V does nothing. Alad V does nothing. Sargus Ruck does nothing. Ambulus does nothing. Maybe Raptor.
Yeah, Raptor's can be a little pain in the butt. But that's only if you can't fucking get. Listen, you know what the issue with Raptor is? It's sometimes when you throw the data mass explosives in and it doesn't quite go in where you expect it to go, and you're like, no explosion. No, wait, hold on.
I really want nightmare versions of the bosses that, you know, they are harder. They have more abilities.
You know what? Let's turn that into a Wabiki. And that's so if you don't know what Wabiki stands for, we have a series on the channel which is called Wouldn't It Be Cool If?
Yeah.
And what if we took those mechanics from the nightmare versions of these bosses, you know, the potential nightmare versions of these bosses, and put them into Eidolons, into different variants of the Eidolons? Then they could have all of these cool high-level mechanics. They would be restricted to high-level, like very, very intense high-level creatures. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then we could, you know, get the gains from them. So my question is, what do you think these Eidolons are going to drop?
Oh, this is a really hard question, because I know my community would be perfectly happy with vanity content. So
bullshit.
Like, you know,
I want
the
other shit. No, just kidding.
Right?
No.
Personally, I think they should. No, not arcanes. It needs to be something substantial. You know, parts to something. You know, something that gives you a reason to do them repeatedly.
I already know.
I want to say.
Go ahead.
Do you?
Well, I'm thinking in my head that they are going to be components to make the high-level variants of the crafted weapons in Hawk's Anvil.
Right.
Right? So it's kind of like, oh, you have you want like the highest variant of this specific weapon. And that's what I'm excited about too, is I want to be able to really craft my own weapons.
Actually, here's an idea. Do you remember, like, absolutely ages ago, they showed off those giant arm cannon things?
Yes. What
could it be that they drop a component to allow you to build them, but they're consumable, so it's always a reason to go back and fight them?
I think that might be, because they have not talked anything about the Tenno weapons. That's another thing I'm super excited for. I'm super excited to be able to fight.
They showed them off absolutely ages ago in a dev stream, but we've not seen them come back since.
Yeah, but those ones were, I guess they are technically sentient arm weapons, right?
Oh yeah.
But I think that they scrapped those for the more, I think that they scrapped those for more of the Cetus looking variants instead. I mean, I know that you can do that bug with the Halakar and the Simulacrum, and you can get sentient weapons off of the Sentients. You know that thing, right?
No, I don't.
You literally...
I've learned something. No.
Yeah, you can literally go in there, you use the Halakar on them, and then, I don't know, there's... I don't remember it off the top of my head, but you can actually equip these sentient weapons on yourself. They're like low-level, unmodded, not very good, but it's an interesting thing that you are able to see. Is there anything else you're super excited for sentient...
Lore.
For A lore. What do you think is going to come out of this? What kind of lore do you think is going to come out of Cetus?
I want to learn more about the nature of Warframes and the Orokin Towers. I believe that the Warframes themselves are some form of infested, corrupted
Flesh.
Host. Yeah.
Well, because they did say something
suit.
in the old lore about them and saying that we needed hosts that could withstand the powers of the Tenno. So that would kind of be cool to see. What I'm looking forward to though is I'm definitely looking forward to the Tenno weapons, learning a little bit more about the lore, but no, actually that's a lie. I don't care about the lore. I just want to shoot things and I want things to die. Is that terrible?
Yes,
Is that
entirely.
so terrible? I just want to be able to murder things. I just want new ways to murder things and new things to murder.
I just really hope that there are plenty of reasons to come back to the Plains of Eidolon, not just do them once and then fuck off, like you did with the Law of Retribution and the raids and things.
I think that we're gonna have some. I think that we're gonna have some time with it, and that's mainly because of the fact that I do believe that I'm calling it Hawk, but I think that I'm about to call it Captura, Cetus.
Yes.
Cetus is actually going to be kind of like its own syndicate that you'll gain faction with.
Yeah, I really would like to see that sort of stuff. I'd actually like to see the other syndicates make a representation at these places.
I hope so. At least the parent sequence, because that seems to be there's Corpus there. You know, that just kind of makes sense that they'll be in the area. So I'd like to see them represented. Only because I kind of want to make babies with Urgo. What?
I'd also like to see Corpus actually in the battlefield as well, because I mean, come on, it's a huge area. It can't all just be Grineer territory.
I think. Wait, didn't they say that they were going to be working on the next landscape, and the next landscape is going to be Venus?
Yes, but even so, like, it just feels really weird that there's not going to be like a Corpus operation where they're digging shit out of the bones, like, you know.
You never know. Maybe they'll do events like that, and that's kind of one of the things that I hope so too, is that maybe, and think about it this way, wouldn't this be fucking amazing crossover right now, is if before they introduce their Venus landscape, which I'm assuming is going to be a Corpus landscape, because I can't remember off the top of my head what Venus is. But what if Corpus starts sending down massive robots to start digging for Eidolon stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then we would have to go to the Venus landscape in order to figure out, like, to shut down a factory or something like that. So they'd have, like, a cool tactical alert mission, which they haven't done in years. Not years, but in quite a while. So that would be kind of cool to kind of, like, introduce that into.
Yep.
But yeah, so I think that pretty much does it for the things that we are excited about. Let's go ahead and move into our last little bit, which is the lightning round. We're going to go ahead and ask back and forth questions, because that's how it goes here. We like to reciprocate. It's mutual.
Yeah.
We're going to go back and forth with some very quick questions, and then we will go ahead and end everything right then and there. Not like, I mean, we'll still say goodbye. Don't think that we're just going to leave you that quickly. So I don't know if you want to start?
No, you start.
I wanted you to start because I hadn't even written
Okay,
down
fine,
the
I'll
question
start. Who is your favorite Xenogen creator?
Oh, wow, you're such a bitch! You are such a bitch! Oh, all of them.
Damn it! God damn it! Only if I worded my question. Which one?
No, too bad. Which Warframe would you most like to make babies with?
Nova.
Oh, your turn.
Which Warframe sucks the most?
Oh, that would be Vomon. Get it? You get it?
Yeah.
What one Warframe power would you like to bring into real life?
Vault's shock, so I could charge my phone easier.
It's so fucking clever. I didn't even think about that. That's a really good utilitarian ability.
Right, okay. So, it doesn't have to be Warframe, right? Who is your favorite YouTube content creator or group?
Oh, shit. My favorite YouTube content creator? Motherfucker. Oh, this is old. This is really, really old, and I don't think that anybody is gonna get this. But if you feel the same way as I do, leave it in the comments and cross your fingers that she will one day grace us with another video. But Community Channel. She's an amazing. If you've never caught her, she's Australian and she makes comedic content, and she's just the funniest ever.
You're gonna have to link that to me later.
I will link that to you. I will link that in the comments as well. So. Whoa, oh my god, now my brain fart comes in. Oh, what one Warframe would you get rid of from game? I see that look on your face!
Oh, fuck. Ember.
Oh, that is so rough. Sorry, Megan. Sorry, Megan. You're terrible. Alright, it's... Are we...
Oh, sorry, yeah, it's my turn, right, okay. Beard or no beard?
No beard. I like Laws better. No, just kidding. I'm sorry. Alright, what one Warframe NPC would you want to narrate on your ship?
Oh, shit.
By the way, I just came up with that like this last second.
Darvo.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So to actually have the character in one of my shows, yeah?
Oh, just so that you can copy his voice lines? Is that what it is?
No. I'm clarifying. We're talking as a character because you said narrate.
Yeah, like instead of Ordis, you would have this person talking to you on your ship.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Oh no, Tilgor! Fuck!
You can't change it now. You've committed.
Damn it! Why did I choose no? Yeah. Okay. How are you finding being a YouTuber 24/7?
Oh. It's got its ups.
Have I brought it down on its own?
It's got its downs. But at the
Clearly
end,
this isn't up though.
It's, well, we'll see after this. I don't know. You want to take off a little something for me? No. It's got its ups, it's got its downs, but I think one of the funnest things about it is being able to interact with the community in the way that I get to. And I get to play an awesome game, and I get to spend time with amazing people like Xeno here on my channel. There's a lot of great in the community. There's also a lot of crap in the community, but you put up with the crap because the good stuff is there. Right? That's how it works at the end of the day. So I think that brings our lightning round to a close. It does, right? That was 5?
No, you gotta ask me a question.
Do I ask you one last question?
Yeah,
is that the last question? Shit, I was gonna get away with not asking you one more question. Let's see.
Were you intentionally doing that?
No, I really did. I literally, this
right,
is my, oh, you can't see it. Well, to the people at home, this is my book of questions for Xeno. It's a blank page. I literally wrote the number 1 down, and I didn't write anything beyond that.
Completely improv.
We just improv all of this. We don't know any of this.
Like, it's so amateurish.
I know. Now, in your real life, if you could have one companion, which companion would it be?
Smita Kavat. I could really do with some luck right now.
I think all of us could. But on that note, if you could do me a huge favor and go ahead and pimp out your channels and your socials, all of that beautiful, wonderful stuff, all the addresses.
Cool. So you can find me on youtube.com/Xenogelion. I recently got that back, by the way. You can also find me at twitter.com/Xenogelion. And yeah, you can chat to me then and there and have fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being my first guest on this pilot episode of literally something that I decided on probably late last night.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for having me, Rob, and
No
thank
problem.
you for making it a smooth and pleasurable ride.
Oh, what if I were to tell you that I wasn't recording that whole time?
I would fucking kill you.
Anyway, that about does it for today. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. And next time, maybe I'll make sure to hit the record button.